Top of the morning. Top of the morning for me. Semi top of the morning. It's already 9 o'clock. It's like not the top of the morning. Top of the morning is like when the sun comes up. At least for me. What is that? What does that term even mean? Top of the morning meaning. The best part of the morning. I thought it just meant like the beginning of the morning, but this might be the top of the morning for me. We'll see how excited I get later. I have been back on my tea grind. So, Cha Cha, what's up? What's up, Cha Cha? Right now, it's just us. I mean, there's gonna be a few people tuning in, but I haven't started the TikTok madness because I'm uploading a video. I haven't started the Instagram madness either because I'm just want to talk to you guys. How is it, Steven? What's up, my friend? Mm. Is it a tea kind of morning for y'all? Well, it's not. It's not really morning for you guys anymore, is it? It's like mid afternoon, possibly. Windy, huh? It's been really windy here too. It's been like really hot, really windy, and then all of a sudden it's like super still, and then rain will come in. Um, but God, I love the wind. I've been doing this sort of meditation where I will lay down and I can see out my window just like all these. They're called how, and they're just like really beautiful, just like long limbed, kind of like viney trees is the best way to describe. I mean, I could actually show you guys. That's how right there. And so anyway, it goes high up into pretty high into the sky, and so I just get to watch like the trees just like dance in the wind. We're going to record a video clip reporting live from the winds of Cha Cha. That's hilarious. Oh my god, that's funny. Please do that. Reporting live from the winds of change. That's brilliant. I love that. Cha Cha, you're legitimately one of the funniest people online that I follow, and that's a friend of mine. We have that similar kind of like, well, here it is. Let's go. Anyway, tomorrow's my session with Tressa. Kind of nervous. Steven, I mean, be nervous, but also be courageous. I've had a session with Tressa before, and it was incredible. It wasn't like anything I was expecting, and Tressa is one of the safest women that I've ever worked with before. Safe, confident, really sweet, really accepting, really loving. You know, she's good friends of Pasha and myself, and so you know what you're going to be doing with her is some of the most important work in terms of discovering what stories are living in your body. And dude, I'm so stoked for you. So yeah, you are gonna get what you deserve, bro. Which is to see things clearly and see how strong of a man you actually are. Cha cha. Thank you. I finally finished an edit of a video I recorded last year. I at least make myself laugh. It makes me feel extra good when I make others giggle. Well, what's so funny is like if your stuff doesn't make you laugh and you're making stuff only to make other people laugh, like there's I guess you would call him like a creative advisor, Rick Rubin. You might have heard of him. He's actually really famous. He talks about how the audience comes last. Like we're making music or we're making comedy because it makes us laugh, not so that we can make the audience laugh, and that you're a success as soon as you put it out, even if you know it doesn't get a lot of views or likes. But and the reason I think that's beautiful is because if you make music for other people, you make comedy for other people, then you're surrounded by people who don't necessarily have the same humor as you. Because if you don't think it's funny, like a lot of the stuff that I make, I think is funny, and that's why I feel like I have a lot of people around me that I can relate to really well because we all think it's funny. And I could make content about stuff that I don't find funny, but then there'd be people who we don't have the same type of humor around me. So anyway, let's open up the floodgates, shall we? Let's go TikTok live and um, Instagram live. It's good catching up with you guys. Yeah, Steven, you're gonna love this. Welcome, my friends. That was really culty. Sorry, guys. Um, this is not a cult, although in a way it sort of is because there is a lot of conspiracy happening in that we're going to be breathing with each other and virtually breathing with each other, which is something that we do a lot. Like, one thing a lot of people don't understand about conspiracy is that it literally just means to breathe together. Con, together, spire, breath, conspiracy, people breathing together. And so when you're conspiring with people, it means you're just breathing together. And what that used to mean was that you are breathing the same air, like you're in a room together and you're just breathing that air with those people. But nowadays you can conspire, and I genuinely believe that there's sort of a new dimension of reality emerging with technology. Because everything you swipe by, every time you breathe, every time you laugh at a video or go, what? There's an element of sharing breath, even though you're not physically sharing breath with them. And some people would fight me on this, but there is 100% still some kind of energetic tethers and cords that are being formed when you're online scrolling and doing things. And so, the more you conspire with people, the more you become like them. And this is something that human design tells us. They call it conditioning. Um, but really what it is it's a sharing of information. And so if you're sharing information with each other, you are conditioning each other, and it's not something that's bad. In human design, we talk about conditioning as though it's something that needs to be undone. And for a lot of people, yes, true. However, what really is happening is that you're just looking for more appropriate things to condition yourself to. So for instance, if you are very conditioned to like be a people pleaser, and let me know in the chat if this is like hitting for you or if this is something that's relevant to you. If you're conditioned to be a people pleaser, according to human design, what that might mean is like maybe you have an undefined solar plexus and life is boring without other people. And so you have other people, you seek out drama or seek out people with drama because it makes life more exciting for you, or it makes life feel a little bit more flavorful, even though it might be dramatic. So if you're conditioned to seek out people as a means of feeling something, the idea is that you're not necessarily deconditioning that part of yourself. You're conditioning yourself to notice, oh, I notice that I seek out people. And it's not I need to fix myself thing. It's just I notice that I'm seeking out people because I want to feel something. And so instead of seeking out people to feel something, I'm going to do something with myself so that I can feel something. And so it's more so of a reconditioning, because conditioning is just how we live. As babies, they're not very conditioned to the reality that we all share. They're used to like swimming in water. They're used to having everything fed through them through a tube. And in a lot of ways, they're a different being than us adults who know how to walk around, communicate with each other, read street signs, operate vehicles, etc. And so there's a level of conditioning that all babies have to go through in order to become human beings. And there's this term feral, which is just like wild. Like if you leave a human being out in the wild, there's a part of them that is never conditioned to the way rest of society works. And it's not good or bad. It's just different. And so anyway, ex people pleaser here. What's up, Wonders? I mean, trying to set boundaries since some years, but it isn't natural for seeking for people. We're social creatures. Yes, we are social creatures. So we're looking around, and this is what the mind does. The mind looks around, and it finds patterns, and it finds breaks in those patterns, and it's like looking for something to grasp onto. But that's not the only awareness center we have. That's what the mind does. The ajna right here, it looks outward into the world, and it looks for patterns. It looks for, again, breaks in the patterns. It looks for certainty. It looks for sameness and differentness. But then we also have the solar plexus, which looks for truth, and we have the spleen, which looks for safety. Now, sometimes you're not ready to handle the truth. Sometimes, you are feeling safe, but there's actually danger. And so there's a lot of distortions that happen when you don't know how to blend the external reality, the external authority, and the internal authority, what's going on in your body. And so, for instance, like when it comes to boundaries, it might appear inside of you that, oh, this is a really hard boundary for me to set. But externally, the other person doesn't know. And if you were to say something along the lines of like, hey, that doesn't really feel good when you do that, would you mind not doing that or speaking that way to me? They might just be like, oh, okay, sure. But maybe inside of you, there's this turmoil of like, oh, I can't ask that because, again, there's a conspiracy happening. There's a collaboration between what's going on in the external world and what's going on in the internal world. The best concept I've heard around boundaries was given to me by one of my Sundancer uncles, and he says, "Man, boundaries are with yourself." Like you tell people your boundaries, but ultimately the boundaries that you establish are with yourself. Because if you establish a boundary with someone and they're disrespectful of it, especially multiple times, and you don't leave, it's not their fault. It's your fault for not leaving. So, anyway, I hope that helps. It also is really helpful to, especially if you're nervous about communicating a boundary, to speak a boundary out loud to somebody else other than the person that you're really charged up about, that you need to set the boundary with. And it seems like silly sometimes, but the role playing and the ability to practice it and then notice what comes up physically in your body, like if your throat gets really tight or if your stomach gets really tight or if your feet get really tight, and all you have to do is just pressurize those areas. So if you feel like the words get caught in your throat, squeeze your throat and swallow. If your legs are moving a lot, instead of just like letting them jitter, push them down and then try and push against. So if I'm like pushing down on my knees and then I'm going to try and pull my knees up into my hands, basically create some resistance in your body so that the resistance is being met in your body as opposed to, again, searching in the outside world for something to meet you. So the 12 steps of AA has really helped me find the awareness and learn how to proactively choose a different action that feels familiar to my conditioning. I wish everyone could experience the freedom. And that's the thing, is like you can't really appreciate freedom unless you know what it's like to be chained. And all of us are chained in some type of way. Most of like popular new age spirituality is sort of dancing around those chains and like looking for layers of freedom rather than being able to actually like drop into, these are the chains that I wear. And so yeah, it's, and this, alcohol is a very just addiction in general, it's a very, how you say, unique experience for people. And the steps out of it, accountability. I don't know actually all the steps, but I'm familiar with people that have gone through AA. And what is happening a lot of the times, again, like you were saying, is we're just giving you another set of conditioning. Instead of going to the alcohol or the substance, you go to your partners or someone that can hold you accountable. And a lot of it has to do with this concept of shame and guilt. Shame is I am wrong, like there's something wrong with me. Guilt is I just did something wrong. Do you agree that all laws for manifestation do not exist, but are just containers? So, great question. I have a lot to say about manifestation and how people talk about manifestation, especially in the New Age community, because laws are things that essentially can't be violated, like the law of gravity. We have yet to find someone that is able to completely violate the law of gravity. We have levity, which is the ability to resist gravity, to stand ourselves up, but ultimately we can't violate those laws. And so when it comes to laws of manifestation, um, you know, why does it work for some people and not work for other people? Well, my personal belief is that because manifestation has to do with the shape and the ability to recognize the instrument that you're manifesting with, which is the physical body. And most people don't know how to manifest with the instrument that they have. They just see other people manifesting and saying, these are the laws of manifestation, and say, let me apply those laws. And then they don't work. Then they think it's a scam. This is why manifestation starts with pressure, starts with thinking and doing. And how do I align thinking and doing with the vessel that I have in order to manifest what I want? And then also, where do I need help? Manifestation, one thing it's a collaboration. It's not something that you're just doing on your own. So anyway, that's me. I'm afraid to upset everyone. Never was able to discover what I want for myself and take action, learning every day. Like Tarzan, totally. None of my comments, dude. Makes perfect sense. That's how I was a lot of the times in my life. I was afraid to upset people, and so I didn't speak up. I didn't share what was going on in my internal world because I was afraid of upsetting specifically people who had authority. Like, this doesn't feel good, but I don't want to say that to this person right now because it's not a good time or etc. There are a lot of excuses, a lot of like trying to save other people from their demons when literally I was just succumbing to my own. I need help. I am close to becoming homeless. Justina, don't be afraid of being homeless. Can you do an example for someone who needs a car and stuff to prevent homelessness? So this is, and not that I've ever been homeless. I've been like without a house and plumbing and stuff like that. But everyone is I think everyone's afraid of things that they don't necessarily fear fully. It's more so like how it looks. Um, and in terms of like for someone who needs a car, like if you need to manifest a car and you need to manifest a home, like the best way to do that might be to be homeless for a little bit. Might be to be without a car. Because again, this is the thing is if you want to get to a destination, let's say you want to get like I'm in San Diego or I'm in Maui and I want to get to San Diego. Okay. If I start flying towards San Diego, but I think I'm in New York, but I'm actually in Maui, I'm gonna fly the opposite direction. And so some of the things that you are, you know, working through right now, like the reality that's showing up is sort of the result of the way that you were thinking and the way that you were living. So I do fear it because I have chronic illness. Right. So the home and the car or whatever it is that you're looking to manifest. And again, these are hard truths, but these are also just like the things that some guy online is saying. And I'm just saying like embrace that reality because what happens a lot of time is people try to sort of like manifest their way out of a situation that they manifested already. And whether it was a manifestation of not self, like your distorted perception of yourself, or a manifestation of your true self, again, that's one thing that we can never get away from is ourselves. And so again, I don't know what the situation is like. I don't have any life changing advice for you to avoid homelessness other than like you're not as fragile as you think you are. And whatever chronic illness that you're dealing with, um, you're not as fragile as the illness is making you out to think that you are. And again, I don't know your situation. I'm just some guy talking online. But one thing that I do know is that if you're willing to embrace the challenge in front of you, that's oftentimes the only way to move forward. To accept that, oh, there's this obstacle in front of me. And then also to accept that, hey, I walked towards this obstacle. I called this in. Because like, what's that movie? There's a movie. It's Evan Almighty, Bruce Almighty, Evan Almighty. And there's this concept where he's like, if someone prays for patience, does God give them patience or does he give them the opportunity to be patient? If you pray for wealth and abundance, are you given wealth and abundance or are you given opportunities to be abundant and wealthy? And, there's a lot of, again, like fake it till you make it spirituality that's out there. And that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about come into contact with the part of yourself that is fearful, that needs courage, figure out where it exists in your body, and then learn how to meet that part of yourself. Like a lot of people feel stuck, right? Like I want to expand, I want to grow, I want to transform. But it's like they're at the top of their inhale. They're downloading 100 podcasts a year and they're not uploading anything. They're not letting go of old things. And so again, one of the things that could possibly be happening is if you're asking for healing, that spirit is asking you to let go of, your worldly belongings, the outsourcing of safety that comes from the gathering of material goods and having shelter, the maybe possible pride that you may have around asking for help, like actual tangible help, I need a place to stay, etc. Or maybe even the abuse of asking for help. Maybe you asked help too many times and now people don't want to help you anymore because you're not helping yourself. not trying to come down on you. I'm just doing my thing. So we are inundated with so much information and not enough experiences. Truly, people are living, and now with the virtual world, we're able to get even more experiences. And so now there are even more sources of inspiration, and our physical bodies cannot handle it. That's why people are starting to get diagnosed with neurodivergency, ADHD, all of the stuff. And it's like, oh, we're getting better at identifying this. It's like, yeah, but also there's so much more energy that we're exposing ourselves to, and our biology cannot keep up. Our biology is kind of slow, guys. But that's the magic of it, is like the mind is lightning, it moves fast. It's like fire. The body is like earth. It's slow, but it's stable. It's solid. Over time, you can't, how you say, trick your biology into thinking that it's something else. You actually have to start with where you're at and then move forward. Like with an idea, you can drop an idea in a second, but you can't like get stronger biceps by cutting off your arm and putting on another arm. Even organs, like if your heart is not good, what do you do? Some people just get heart transplants, or kidney transplants, or people Botox their face, and it's like, again, you're just like deepening the hole as opposed to just starting with whatever you have and being able to move forward. Every challenge we face is an opportunity for growth, for sure. Yep. Life on life's terms has been a game changer for me. Thanks for sharing the wisdom. Keep shining, bro. Gotta go. My friend, much love to you. Enjoy that freedom. Life on life's terms. That's a great concept. One of the pillars of human design is this concept called no choice. And it goes directly against what a lot of spiritual new age pop new age pop spirituality says, which is you're a creator consciousness. And human design says the exact opposite. It says you're a passenger consciousness. You are not necessarily here to create your dream life. Your body has already created it, essentially. Your role is to allow it to emerge by not becoming conditioned to the way everybody else is doing things. And this is really something that's like, this is really something that is like so beautiful, because I've always loved playing devil's advocate. I've always loved going against the grain, especially as it comes to like spirituality and new age stuff, because there's just so many like talking heads in spirituality, and I've been one of those talking heads, and I kind of am now. Um, However, I'm also doing like the practical grounding stuff and that we teach over in the archive, that we are sort of pioneering, and we're looking where we want to bridge like the world of spirituality and like fitness and health and wellness, because a lot of the times people will either go far to one side of the spectrum. You got the PhDs, the health guys that are like, spirituality is a fluke, emotions, all that stuff, just command your body and it'll fix your emotions. And it's like, okay. And then there's the guys on the spiritual side. You don't need to worry about the body. Like, just work on your spirituality and that will fix your body. And it's like, okay. And it's like, you guys realize you're doing the same thing, just on like working on different parts of the body. It's like a head specialist that is unaware that the work they do on somebody's cranial sacral work is affecting their brain, their head is affecting their sacrum. And this is where, again, you can't rely on spirituality, you can't rely on fitness to heal yourself, because, dude, healing is already happening. What you really got to get good at is figuring out where you're at, where on the spectrum do you lie, and then where do you want to go, and then why do you want to go there? Because maybe where you're at is perfect. Maybe where you're at is perfect. And if you just like allow yourself to be that way for even just 15 minutes, what would you do? That can be very revealing. Russ, welcome back, my friend. I'm doing good. I got some tea. It's getting a little hot in here. It's been really warm these past few days. Steven's got some enchiladas. I remember there was a time in my life when I was very unappreciative of my mom and all the work that she would do for me. This was at the sort of at the beginning of my spiritual journey. I remember there were times when I blamed my mom for my lack of abundance, and I would say things like, if you just didn't shelter me and you showed me what was going on with the money thing, then I might be a little bit more abundant right now. I might have more money. I might have been able to help. And I blamed her for a lot of things. If you didn't just always do the dishes for us and you made us do the dishes, and maybe, you know, we would do the dishes more. And looking back at it, it's like, God, I've been doing my best to sort of like make up for that just by being super appreciative of her and loving of her. Because again, it's like the mind wants to look at everything and it wants to fix everything. That's like the job. It's like, oh, there's the pattern, there's the break in the pattern. Let's keep the pattern going. But sometimes life has to adapt, and that's where biology and the physicality is like, look, I know that's supposed to happen, but it's not right now. So how are we going to show up to that? And there's darkness or shadows or illusions in the body and in the mind. The thing about the body is that unlike the mind, again, the body doesn't necessarily pick up on things as quickly in terms of other people's energies, or rather the other people's way of doing things. You have to be around somebody for a while for your system to adjust to start to be like that. You can look at this like women. When women start to live together, if they're harmonious, a lot of the times their moon cycles will start to sync up. And same thing, not necessarily with men, but men kind of like if they're living together, a lot of times their workout cycles or their rest active cycles will start to sync up. I'm sometimes not sure if it's my gut or just my emotions. So one of the things that you can tap into is that emotions are typically like further up here in the body, whereas the gut is more of a connection to your pelvic floor, the depth of your pelvic floor. And so one of the things that we train in the archive is starting to discern the difference between mental activity, which is mostly up here in the brain, and you can feel it as like a pressure in the face or the brain, learning how to swallow that down through the solar plexus, through the heart, through this system right here, which is very much so about like truth, connection, emotions, and drop it all the way down through the gut into the pelvic floor. And then be able to take the top of the head and the pelvic floor, push down so you can stand up taller. And so when it comes to like, is this gut or is this emotions? If you can't feel it resonating in the gut, then it's either mind or emotions. And if you can't feel it deep in like your pelvic floor and filling up the bowl of your hips, then again, it's like, okay, it's emotion or mind, in which case I'm going to give myself at the weight. My feeling is at the bottom. So then you might just be questioning your gut instinct, my friend. Another thing to recognize also is that like the gut doesn't necessarily have a language or a reasoning to it. Like your gut sometimes might take you into a situation that sucks so that you can feel when the gut changes, so that you can learn to discern when the gut changes, right? Like, for instance, it might take you into a relationship just so 3 months it can go, and be like, no more, not anymore. And you might be like, but you took me to this. And it goes, but yeah, but now I don't want to be here. And then you think, oh, but I'm going to look crazy or this is mean or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, this is life. No one's got a manual. I mean, people have tried to make manuals. I'm wearing one on my shirt right now. I've got two on my desk, right? Two books. These are my books, by the way. Take a screenshot if you like human design. Both of these are on my Amazon shop list also. Human design. This is like standardized human design. This is the human design everyone knows. This is what it was born out of. A channeling with a voice. And again, human design is here to teach us how to descend into our physical bodies. And before we had human design, Christianity tried to do that. Before we had Christianity, the pagans tried to do that. Before we had that, like we always had a way of systematizing descending into the body or embodiments or success or whatever. But ultimately, because everyone's unique. there's variations in the recipes. Like if you're baking and you're baking at a different elevation, you have to change the amount of time that you put it in the oven and the temperature, because things react based off of their environment, or they respond differently based off their environment. And so it's not enough to know the system. You have to be tuned into the actual thing that's responding, which is your physical body. So sometimes I'm just worried that I'm interpreting something into it because I'm longing for something. For example, yeah, give me some examples, Russ. I love this. Gut sometimes says, "What's that, brother?" Yeah, exactly. What is that? And sometimes it's like, sometimes my gut will be like, and I'll be like, but I'm gonna go see what it's about, because that's what free will is, guys. You know, it's not like always do what your inner authority says, never do what the external authority says. That's what a lot of human design analysts are like. It's like, dude, know what they both are and then fucking choose, pick, do something. I've been learning a lot about spirituality for a few years, and the breathing and massaging that you teach us has allowed my body to come to speak more and can let go of my thoughts. Or maybe I need to learn that difference on gut and emotions. They're that's the thing, is like they're already different. It's learning to listen as opposed to imposing the mind on it. And again, it's like even that concept of like learning spirituality rather than spirituality is revealing itself to me. My body is revealing its language to me. And this is where, again, most people are over inspired. So there's too much, they're doing too much scrolling, too much podcasting, too much courses, too much listening, and not enough handling the stress that's right in front of them. Like people talk all the time to me. They're like, I'm super anxious. I can't get rid of my anxiety. And I said, well, that would be a terrible thing if you could get rid of your anxiety, because that's called being numb. You're never going to learn the difference between your emotions, your gut, and your mind if you just numb out your anxiety. But a lot of people, they want that immediate gratification, and it turns into long-term suffering. So I am cringe, but I am free. Totally. And that's the right, like that's the thing, is like if you're not cringy to some people, you're not really anything at all. So anyway, I always feel such warmth and positivity, no cramping, no coldness, no nothing. Well, I'll figure it out. Thanks. Wait, what was the example, Russ? So you're always feeling warmth and positivity, no cramping, no coldness, no nothing. What's the example? The challenge of discernment between the gut and the emotions. Like, for instance, one of my signals. That's the word that I use. Signals. I track signals that my body is sending me. One of the signals that I'm more in my emotion is this sort of shallow breath. Like when I go to breathe, it's just like it's like kind of like full here, and it sort of stops in this area. There's also a sort of racing that my mind does because I meditate, so I'm familiar with like a baseline thought frequency. And a lot of the times when I'm in my emotions, the thoughts come a lot faster. On top of that, there's a projection. Like there's a this person did that, that person did this, as opposed to a this is where I want things to go. And on top of that, one of the things that I notice as well is like my legs will just be like really shaky when I'm in an emotional wave. Like if I'm talking to someone and I'm feeling emotional, my legs will either be shaking in some kind of way. So my feelings is more in the lower part, but very pleasant or neutral. Yeah. So you might just have people around you that don't want you to do the things that you want to do. Another way that you can ground into it, take your hands, put them on the insides of your knees, both at the same time, push your knees apart while you drive your knees inward, and get into your legs. Like, again, if you're questioning your gut, is this emotion or is this a true gut response? Get into your legs, stand up on your own feet, drive your knees together while you push them apart, and then you can put your hands on the outside, drive your knees apart while you're pushing your knees together, and create. What I'm saying also is like discover the inner conflict inside you and feed into that conflict in a physical, somatic way. That just, hopefully that makes sense. Um, because most people feed into the mental conflict, which is never resolved, but you will get tired if you're feeding into this physical conflict. That's why exercise feels so good. And on top of that, it's like they've discovered in the past few years that muscles And the muscles are the things that are actually signaling the release of hormones, the use of our muscles, and using them in the right sequence, using them in their multidimensionality. Because most people just think about this: bicep contracts, then tricep contracts. But it's like, is there a world where your bicep actually can push your arm down? Yeah, it is. So I've had a dull, ache, painful sensation in my chest for a couple days. What could this be? On the left side, to be specific. So what I would say, and how I would explore that, and how I do explore that, firstly is like gently. So I'll rub the hands together, get the Reiki hands going, and just put your hand there. Seek around for it. And just notice what happens. Notice what kind of thoughts you have. Your focus point is going to be smelling, swallowing, and the taste of your breath. Secondary is going to be thoughts that sort of come in. But as you're smelling, swallowing, and tasting, that's sensation. So you're starting to gear the sensation, smelling, swallowing, tasting your breath with the sensation in your hand. Notice if there's heat building up. If there's heat building up, cool. If it feels cold, cool. Again, what thoughts show up? And then after that, then what you want to do is start to pressurize. So what I'll do is I'll take that area, like for instance, my low back is kind of feeling weird. So I'll show you guys what I would do and what I have been doing for the past 2 days. So again, I'm just giving the sensation some awareness before I do anything. Before I go to fix or heal or whatever, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's feeling that. Because sometimes guys, when you're feeling blockages, it's because you just need to chill the fuck out. So anyway, after I realized, like, oh, maybe I need to chill the fuck out, or maybe there's something else to do here, one of the first things that I'll do is I'll start to pressurize. So I'll start to push my hands into my back, and then I will, you guys see, it's really subtle. It's really, really subtle, but check this out. Pressurize into, and this is like, there's muscles here. And if you want to see what those muscles look like, we live in the 21st century. You can go online and see these muscles. Great. Sorry, I just got some good news. Yes. But yeah, that's what I would do. And again, there's a lot of meaning that I could apply to it. Like left side is the feminine side, this is the creative side, and you said it was in your chest for a couple days, so kind of like on the heart side. One of the things that I would do is I would use the organs that are around there, like your lungs and your heart and your ribs, and I would experiment. What does it feel like to take your lungs and push them out into your ribs, and take your ribs and push them into your lungs? What would it feel like to take your lungs and then push them into your heart while you push your heart into your lungs? What would it feel like to take your scapula or your shoulder and the back of your ribs and push those against each other? Again, it's just like everything coming back to oneness. And doing this in a way too where it's like it's exploration. A lot of the reasons people will hurt themselves is because they're not exploring, they're trying to fix something that doesn't necessarily need to be fixed. And if we are going to quote unquote fix something, let's fix it from the inside out rather than the outside in. Like you don't change the kitchen of a house by painting the outside. Let's have some tea. By the way, most of this stuff that I am sharing with you guys, we have a membership called the Archive where we deepen into the learning from the body. And there are a lot of maneuvers that you can learn that will help you start your journey with specifically pressure and heat. Because most of the time when something is off in the body, it's because there's an improper amount of pressure or heat, which means too much heat that you can't handle, or too much pressure that you can't handle, or too little pressure and you need more pressure, or too little heat and you need more heat. Simple stuff like that. It sounds a bit pro level. It can get to pro level, but it starts at fundamental stuff, which like it literally starts with the face. Like the first things that you learn in the Archive is how to watch my neck. Positive pressure, negative pressure. Like you learn how to do that, and you learn how to. Which one was harder, left or the right? Well, let me do it again. Oh, well, right felt like better, but left felt easier. I don't know. What does that mean? Fuck if I know. Who cares what it means? This is your body. Like this is right. It's like it doesn't matter where you're at with your body. What matters is whether or not you're willing to like accept where you're at and discover where you want to go. Because here's the thing: most people not only do they not know where they're at, they only want to go somewhere or they only want to be like this because they saw someone else. It's like you might want to be a famous singer, but it might be because your mom or your dad or one of your friends or one of your girlfriends or boyfriends early on was like in love with Justin Bieber. And you're like, I want to be loved by my mom, so and she loves Justin Bieber, so maybe I'll be a famous rock star. See what I mean? And it's you can mentally jump through hoops, talk to therapists, figure out stories that you tell yourself, or you could just fucking learn how to tune into the body and just trust the orientation and follow the body. Straight up, all the mental stuff figures itself out. And then yeah, and then it gets to some pro level stuff because again, it's like the thing that most people ignore is themselves. Like they're very aware of what's going on around them. Some people are incredibly aware of themselves and they need to be more aware of the external reality if they're ever going to manifest anything that they desire. But most people are very aware of what's going on around them and they have no idea what's going on inside. The mind is drawn outward into the world. And so this is why meditation helps. This is why exercise helps because it gets you to actually feel your body. Now, you can work on the physical body without actually working on the energetic body. And that is by way of how you say, this live didn't need to hit me this hard on a Friday evening. you're, you're welcome. Is what I do. My human design is a lot like this body graph. I'm a 3-5 reflector. So like 3-5, I'm a martyr heretic. I'm here to provide solutions that people may not necessarily be ready for by breaking the systems that they are currently using. As a reflector as well, I'm here to give you a barometer sort of or a reflection on where you're at. And a lot of the times, again, people like to see themselves further along than they actually are. One of the things that I've noticed is most people actually see themselves further back than where they actually are. Like there's a couple people that I really, really love that are constantly putting themselves down. And I'm like, nah, that makes perfect sense. Like that's fine. Again, where you're at is fine. You're never, ever, 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 ever gonna stay anywhere forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So anyway, having fun. Yeah, I'm hearing brother wonders. I appreciate it. Where are you guys calling in from, by the way? I fail to recognize sometimes that I have like a global audience, which is sometimes hard for me. But this is one of the exciting things about the way that I've chosen to do things and share my teachings because part of and one of the thing about the archive, this membership, you're not coming because of the teacher. You might join because of me or you might join because of Pasha because you see us as a teacher. But hopefully what you are going to discover is that this whole thing, life works better if you're looking to learn as opposed to be taught things. Italian located in Norway. I had a feeling you were not necessarily an American type person. Um, by the pool in New Mexico, Robin. Hey, oh, it's you, Robin. Hi. I hope you're well. Where do you get your T-shirt? I make these. So if you want a shirt like this, you can go to shop.thearchive.life, or the link is also in my bio. It'll say merch, and you can get one. Very soft T-shirt. And they actually, you can't really kind of see, but there's different colors and stuff. But this is the body graph, which is from Neutrino Design, which is like those are my guys over there, or my guy, I guess. This out here, you can kind of see. it's the aura. And so if you have a generator aura or a manifestor aura, I went in and visualized what I felt like the auras would be visualized like on a t-shirt, and it's overlaid behind it. So Marco always spitting deep truth. Idaho, let's go. Hello from Spain. Hola, ¿cómo estás? I grew up in San Diego, right next to Mexico, so I did learn a little, un poquito español. But I know they speak different Spanish than they do in, or slight or dialect, whatever. It's a little different than the Mexico. Hello from Netherlands. Yes. Costa Rica. Oh my, this is cool. I forget, like I said, I forget sometimes that I've got people tuning in from around the world. I remember at one point that was like my goal. Like I wanted to, the term was have a business that the sun never sets on. And like now I have that, which is great. From Belize, I love Belize. I'm definitely gonna come back to Belize one day. There was an island there. I'll just say this story. There was an island there called Hatchet Key that I went and did some Reiki for, and they renamed it Reiki. It's like an island resort. Anyway, how do you know what aura you are? So if you go to my website, which you can get to through the links in the bio, or reikimarco.com, plug in your information, generate your body graph, and it'll tell you your type. So if you're a generator, you have an enveloping aura. Manifesting generators also have an enveloping aura. These are beings that are designed to wait, and they're designed to respond using their sacral. It's the kind of navigation through life. These are the two types that have this sort of enveloping sacral sorting aura. The other three types are manifestors, which these are the only types that are designed to initiate, to like start things. Um, they have what we call a repelling aura because they're constantly manifesting, they're constantly initiating. The projector is one that has a weight aura as well. It's absorbing and then penetrating or amplifying or focusing. And so these are beings that are here to be guides. Their aura naturally, if you're standing next to them or connecting with them, the deeper levels of connection that you have with the person will amplify the effects of their aura on you. So for instance, you won't be as conditioned necessarily by someone that you're seeing on stage versus if that person puts their hands on you or you're physically sleeping with them. There's more conditioning, more information, more conspiracy that can emerge in your field when the points of connection are more frequent and more intimate. And then the reflectors, which have opening and closing auras. Basically, they don't know what our auras do. I know what our auras do, but I can't really explain it. I mean, I could try, but it wouldn't really explain. I'll attempt. The reflector aura is constantly changing. It's constantly in flux. Sometimes it's open, sometimes it's repelling, sometimes it's enveloping, sometimes it's focusing, but it's constantly in flux. And what classical human design says about the aura being what's called Teflon, or the ability to have like things slide off of you, I don't necessarily think that's accurate, just from my own experience, because I've experienced being this like trying to be slidey, and it's not, it doesn't necessarily, I'm more like a diamond or like a crystal ball that like refracts light. And so while yes, I have to be very mindful about the people that I'm around because I am constantly sampling, I know how to fortify myself in my aura. I know how to compress and activate my organs in such a way where I can be in an environment that many years ago I couldn't be in because I was too sensitive. Now I know how to take that sensitivity, turn it inward, and navigate accordingly. And so for me, the reflectors have more of what I consider to be a diamond aura, and not necessarily that the aura is made of diamonds, but that the aura is most representative of nature, which will take certain things, pressurize them, cook them, heat them up, and then spit out diamonds and other stuff. Like I said, probably not going to make sense. Ohio, but I really want to live in Scotland. Ooh, prayers up to get your booty over there in Scotland, my friend. What's holding you back? Why do I have so many undefined areas, good slash bad? Chris, neither good nor bad. It means that these undefined areas are places where you're going to be able to experience a variety of connections and experiences. That's all it is. In the sense that it's like if you have an undefined sacral, don't look to your own look to other people's and then gauge, is that a satisfied person? Do they listen to their sacral response? Okay, I can be with that for a little bit. Recognize when their sacral energy is moving through your sacral. Um, Recognize when there is multiple people's sacral fighting within your sacral. So it's a beautiful experience of life, but you have to accept that it's like those undefined centers, you know, there's not going to be a consistency or a quote unquote reliable impulse or way of doing things in that area. Now, the way that you get around that, or the way that you actually like ground it, because I know that can seem like, oh, so what? I'm just at the whim of everybody else's. Like, no, that's energetically what they do. Physically, if you learn how to, for instance, undefined sacral, learn how to like saturate your sacral, literally fill up your pelvic floor, fill up your, you guys can hear my voice changing? I'm filling up my pelvic floor. That is how you start to access that center in a true to center way. It's the physical accessing of that center that actually gives me a level of authority in my own body. And it sort of like pushes everybody else's stuff out. But you have to practice. So, yes, I am learning to not let everything into my bones. Yeah. Right. And I've heard once that the bones are the only things with no ego, which I thought was really cool. Which is totally something I'd be willing to explore. But there are challenging things to explore, especially because words are like glass. Everything they don't make clear, they make more blurry. And a lot of us have different understandings or definitions of the words. And so I've been working on giving my definitions of words that are commonly used, that commonly have different definitions. Because, for instance, manifestation. A lot of people see manifestation as the ability to, bring things into your life that are desirable for you. When in actuality, it's more like the manifestation is the ability to bring things inside of you into the external world, bring your inner authority online. And so this is where a lot of people like are confused with human design, because they're like, for instance, I'm a splenic authority. I'm not, but let's say I'm a splenic authority, which that's that center right there. The spleen deals with awareness around safety, not safe. Are you food or am I food? Is this healthy, not healthy? That's where intuition comes from. That's where the preservation of life comes from. Spleen wants to know, do I need to run away or do I need to fight this? Can I even fight this? And they're like, I'm super anxious. Am I anxious because I have a defined spleen? And I'm like, no, you're anxious because you don't know how to manifest or see the manifestation of your defined spleen. For instance, if you're the type of person that is constantly afraid of things, constantly like running away from things, and you're using your spleen as a reason, like, oh, well, I know what I like and I know what I don't like, but you don't actually know how to saturate your spleen. You don't ever face things. Because there's times when it's like your spleen will want to run away, but it's very important that you like cultivate courage and face the thing. Stand up for yourself, so to speak. And a lot of people I see learn this sort of like in their Saturn return, or after some years after their Saturn return, specifically splenic projectors, is this ability is like, yeah, okay, you could like leave things because someone isn't inviting you to share. Like if something happened and you're like, yo, that doesn't feel right, but there's no invitation, so I'm just gonna leave. You know, if you just constantly do that, if you don't actually take the invitation that your spleen is coming to, is bringing online, or you're looking for somebody to, how you say, like, give you an invitation to share how you feel, to me, I'm like, the world doesn't really change, because there's not a lot of people that'll give you an invitation to share how you actually feel and then be able to hold it. Sometimes you just have to like because here's the thing, your inner authority is going to invite you into things. Now, it might blow up the container that you're in, it might ruin a friendship, or it might make those things that don't feel good to you inaccessible, which is, if you really think about it, might be what you want. Let's see, is this pre-recorded? So it will be recorded. It's not pre-recorded, but it will be recorded. And when I'm talking about the spleen, it's like, in terms of saturating the spleen, there's a lot of ways to do it. Primarily, it's through the senses. So, like saturating your eyeballs, getting your eyeballs into like really weird positions, accessing peripheral vision, because a lot of the spleen operates in through the senses and also the tensile strength of like throwing a punch. Because the thing, you will feel safer if you know how to properly throw a punch. If you know how to properly run away from something, you will also feel safer. Sometimes you need to. Also, it's like saturating your heart because it's like right underneath there. So if you can learn how to first saturate your heart and then take that energy, that pressure, and drive it down. And again, it's like it's one of the things like how do you saturate your spleen? Well, for instance, when you saturate your lungs with air, you're inflating them. When you saturate your cheeks with air, you're inflating them. And what happens when you inflate something, like if you inflate a balloon, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then if you inflate it too fast, it'll pop. But if you inflate it at the right frequency and speed, it won't pop and your capacity can expand. So the idea is that any of your organs, you can saturate them with blood. But a lot of the times you'll have to learn how to do that first with the face. Oh, is that what you mean? He's like, is this pre-recorded? I'm like, no, I have a multi-streamer over here, so I come back over here and just like read through some of the comments to make sure that I'm not ignoring anyone. I got my archive studio, I've got Instagram over here, and then I've got TikTok. And but my camera's over here. So what does the right side of your body represent spirituality? With that being said, I wish I could like pre-record these and sort of like how do you say, like have a script. I don't wish. Sometimes I feel like I should be doing that because it might be more structured or more impactful, but I literally just haven't invested the time into like pre-scripting a live. It seems to just go so much better when I'm just kind of like channeling and just being live with you guys. Because there's times when I'll show up here and I'll be like, okay, I really want to talk about this, and I will usually talk about it, but again, it's like life is complex. Life is very complex, and not because it's complicated. It's complex because we operate on like simple truths, simple fundamental laws of the universe, but laws that have been at play for so freaking long. Like if you think you have a still pool of water and you throw a pebble in, that's going to create ripples. Those are going to last for a while. And then constantly like start throwing more and more pebbles in. And in this infinite ocean, it's like, one wave affects another wave. And if you throw two rocks in the same time, those ripples will affect each other. And yeah, there's a lot. So I've learned how to, I've been training myself to, because these lives used to make me super nervous. I used to actually I could only go live for an hour. Now I can go live for like 2.5 hours. And partially because I've desensitized myself, but really I've also made myself stronger. I'm able to tolerate more of this banter than I used to. And so that's the thing, is like when you're training, right? Like a lot of people will do training that's irrelevant to the thing that they want to do. It's like, for instance, a lot of people will train yoga and make themselves more flexible when it's like, yeah, but you need to solidify your boundaries more. So why are you making yourself bendy? Shouldn't you be making yourself like more fortified? Not to say yoga will not fortify you, but again, it's like if you want to be a fast runner, train your running mechanics. Look at the best runners. What do they do? Because that's the thing about physicality. Physically, we all generally work the same, and that's what we explore, is the intersection between our energetic uniqueness and our physical sameness. That's what we do in the archive. What does the right side of your body represent spiritually? Um, So right side of the body is connected to the left hemisphere of the brain, which is where a lot of like the logical computing happens. To speak on what some of the channels are in human design, like there are two channels here. This is the right side of the body graph. This is my right hand right here. And so when you're looking at a body graph, it's like you're talking to a human being. They're facing you. So your right is their left and vice versa. But spleen, is it safe? That's part of what the right wants to know. Is it worthy of, like, is it deep enough? Does it have how you say, does it have like the necessary like skills? It's very logical, right? Is it worth fighting for? That's pressure from root to there. um, does everybody have enough? Do they have what they need? As opposed to, like, for instance, like this channel is all about making sure the tribe has enough babies. That one, or sorry, making sure that all the babies get fed. That one is making sure that there's enough babies. Any insights on left-handedness? Typically those are people that are more creative. Those are typically also people that are more receptive to what's going on around them and are able to translate things in less of a logical sense, which most of us are very right hand oriented. Like I'm very right hand oriented, but then I do stuff like I'll use this connection, which this is called the ulnar line, this is called the radial line. This is focus, this is peripheral. Fight or flight, rest and digest. I'll do things like I'll pick up my teapot head with my left hand and the ulnar line, which is my underdeveloped one. And the one thing that's really important too, and I learned this from martial arts, is it's important to train both sides of your body, because what if your right hand gets cut off? And so I've been training both sides of my body, but I don't train them the same. Like I don't necessarily look for the same form in my right side of my body the same way that I'll look in my left side of my body. And it's like having two children. Like you love them equally, but you love them differently. All right, guys, I gotta pee. I'll be right back. If you like it, share it. And I'm back. So I try to use both hands because of that too. Yeah, and it's also just like fun. It's like there's this obsession, especially in the West, with like being the best and you know like being top of your game. And I've felt so much in my life that being the best didn't actually mean training myself to be the best. It meant being around people that were not as good as me, so I felt like the best. Which is in terms of like the hands, it's like, why do you brush your teeth with your right hand? Oh, that's just the easiest thing to do. Oh, what happens when you brush your left hand? Well, it takes me 5 minutes, which normally only takes me 2 minutes. It's like, oh, so what are you in a rush to get to do? Oh, well, I got to get to sleep. I got to get my rest. It's like, oh, okay. Again, one of the challenges that we're helping people overcome is to start to access the whole of their perception. Most people are very ventral. They're very focused. This is what they see. They're like racehorses with a blinder on. I got to make enough money so I can pay rent, so I can pay food, so I can attract a girl or a guy, so I can have a nice career, so people can blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what about this? What about that? And so physically, some of the things that we'll do in the archive, which if you guys want to try this with me, you guys want to practice this, take your fingers, whichever ones, experiment, thumbs, those, push into your neck, and then swallow. And you should see your fingers and feel your neck widen. And now what you want to do is just widen the neck and then keep it wide. This is where most people have to do their work. A lot of people focus like, am I doing the posture right? As opposed to the ability to bring information into their body. They're focused on, am I doing this right? But they're not even be able to read the directions or see the directions clearly because they're too focused on, am I doing this right? And that's the obsession with the mind. Am I doing this right? Is this the smart thing to do? Am I listening? Am I doing it right according to the external authority versus what does it actually feel like? The lives are better when you can reflect. Yeah, Steve, you got it. And sometimes it's cool when I bring things through that are premeditated. Although I always have so much more fun. That is so strange. Wait, am I doing this neck thing right? It felt strange to open the neck. Right. And so this is the thing. One of the reasons it might feel strange is because when it came time for you to say to someone, hey, I don't want to be with you, or I really want to be with you, or that felt really good. and I want more. Or that felt terrible and I don't want that ever again. What happens is you didn't open up your throat because at some point in your life you opened up your throat. Maybe you were a baby and you were crying and your mom or your dad said shh, shh, shh. And it might have been like a totally relevant situation. Like you might have been being hunted by assassins and they're like shh, shh, be quiet, be quiet, like we need to hide. Like it might have made total sense in the grand scheme of things. But then it's of course your experiences of it's like, oh, they told me to be quiet and I wasn't quiet and then they got assassinated because of it. Well, I'm just not going to speak then. Again, and a lot of this stuff is like kid stuff. And so while it's very serious, it's also just like it's like kid stuff. Like if you're a kid and you break a vase or you break something or you use a curse word and then you get when you're a kid, it's like, oh my God, my world is ending. But as an adult, it's like, ah, yeah, little kid, little Timmy broke the vase. And it's like, he was super upset. So there's perspective and layers to this. No neck widening experienced. Mm. Alice, are you saying that because you can't get your neck to widen? Or are you in response to what I was talking about with being hunted by assassins? That was a weird example. And yeah, but yeah, it's strange to open the neck. It's foreign to open the neck. And it's like again, if you don't speak the things inside you. Like let's say you're an emotional being. Let's say you have the solar plexus defined, right? And you want to tell your partner that they're a this and a that and that you never want to see them again and that you just like you hate them and you know like you wish you had never met. It's like if you don't say that, that stays with you. That literally will stay with you. And over 10, 20 years, that will just cook and fester and ferment until eventually it's like a kombucha can that you left out in the sun or a kombucha bottle that you left out in the sun that eventually explodes the container. So the key is go somewhere where your person is not there. Say everything that you need to say because it will probably be scary for you even just to stay it, just to say it. But you have to get it out. Otherwise, it stays in you and you'll choke on a lot of different things. So anyway, dis-ease, stagnant water, we are water, must flow. Exactly. And a lot of this compression that I'm doing here, like one of my favorite things for anxiety is to literally just take my hand palms right above my ears and just try and pop my head off like a Lego. Smell, swallow, taste the air as it comes out of my mouth. And while I'm trying to pop my head off like a Lego, I'm also using the rest of my body to pull my head down. So this might be another way if you can't get the neck widening going on, try and pop your head off like a Lego and then try and pull your head back onto your body like a turtle trying to pull its head into its shell. But what we're doing with a lot of these compressions, it's like a sponge, sponge in dirty water. How do you get the dirty water out? You squeeze it. You squeeze at the sponge. And then when you let it go, it takes its shape again. So have you heard about the book series, The Life and Teachings of Masters in the East? I have not. I love Eastern teachings though, especially growing up in the West, which is, part of human design is like a lot of people are going to be attracted to the things that they don't have. And that's not a bad thing. What's bad is when you're attracted to things that you don't have and then you judge yourself for not having them. It's like being a hetero man and then being upset with yourself that you're not a woman, even though you're attracted to women. It's very confusing. Anyway, why do I end up hysterical when I'm left alone after being in company for some time? Is it attachment? Yeah, it's you being used to other people regulating your nervous system or keeping you from. A lot of the times, also you'll use people as a blanket. It's like if I'm hanging out with this person and I'm with them and they have their problems, I don't necessarily have time or energy or I'm not present to my own problems. And so problems, what I mean, and I'm not necessarily saying like problems. What I'm talking about is specifically stress and inspiration. A lot of the times, especially with spiritual friends, like you'll hang out with your spiritual friends as a way of avoiding the work that you need to do for yourself. Which again, we created this membership, the archive, so that you could physically come do work. Because most of the times people think they have unactualized inspiration, like I just want to write a book, I just want to be a healer, I just want to do this, I want to do that, I want to make music, I want to make art, etc. It's like, hey, before you do that, deal with the stress. Deal with the underlying stress that you have in your body to like make yourself safe, get enough food, get the right kind of food inside you. So yes, it's from 500-year-old beings who are on this earth. Cool. I can't say I'll look. I'll find it. If you have videos to send me, I'll probably watch those more than I will um, read that. And you typically, because it's like I can only take in so much. Like I'm taking in this book right now, and you know I take in a lot of different fiction as well, which is great. But I yeah, I can only take in so much. And I used to think that I could take in a lot more, and then I started to kind of like focus on what I take in because if you look at the body graph, like look, there's two centers up here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here. 2 to 6. So that's 3 times as much activity that's happening down here as opposed to going on up here. And it doesn't mean one's better than the other, but they both, like the left and the right, you love them equally, but you treat them and love them differently. Love them equally, but they are different. Love them differently. I feel attacked. Well, you can defend yourself really well. I know that. Let's see. How to meditate, quiet the mind, and know aligned guidance as a mental projector. So, one of the things about meditation that is just flat out like, you know, just a myth is meditation is not here so you can quiet your mind because the mind's job is to think. Like that's like trying to do exercise so that you can get your heart to be calmer. That's not the point. Like the point is to cultivate a consciousness that is calm and peaceful and quiet when the mind is active, when the heart is active. Like the difference between major level athletes or fighters, for instance, and amateur bar fighters is that the professional fighter can deal with a lot more mental activity and a lot more racing heartbeats and a lot more sensations of quote unquote pain than the amateur bar fighter. And the reason and the difference is training. So, for instance, meditation. First thing you want to do, establish regularity. I do this thing, I've been doing it for the past 13 years. It's called RPM, rise, piss, meditate. Wake up, pee, meditate for a minimum of 5 minutes. Work your way up towards 20 minutes and then 30 minutes. But 5 minutes of meditation in the morning, right after you pee, before you do anything else, is much better than no meditation. Most people try to do 30 minutes of meditation right out the gates. Some people do it, most people don't. Because 30 minutes is a lot of time. And when you're late for work, it's like, I can't do my 30-minute meditation. So I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and it's like, I missed it yesterday. So I'll just start next week. And then that just keeps pushing out and pushing out and pushing out. So with that being said, your only job in the beginning of learning how to meditate or getting the benefits of meditation is to literally just sit still. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Sit still with your spine straight. Don't lay down. That's different. The body works differently when you're laying down versus when you're sitting up. When you are looking to pacify your mind, like if you notice your mind is spiraling or you can't stop your thinking, smell, swallow, cool stream of air. Smell, swallow, cool stream of air. What we're looking to do with meditation is take the mind that is constantly reaching outward for, oh, look at this shiny thing, look at that shiny thing, that's the smart thing, oh, I should do that, I should do that. And we're giving it permission to do that inside of us. Oh, there's this sensation, there's that sensation. I'm thinking a lot about this. My heart feels kind of weird, my shoulder feels kind of out of whack. And then to just notice that and then tolerance. Cultivate tolerance. A lot of people will do meditation, they'll come out of it and I'll be like, how's the meditation? They'll be like, oh, I was thinking a lot. And yeah, I don't know if I did it right. It's like, well, you didn't physically move, so You at least did that. But that's where it starts from. And then eventually you do that for 2 or 3 years, and it does take a long time. Eventually you say, someone comes out and they're like, I was like, how's your meditation? She's like, well, I'm thinking a lot, but I still love myself. Or I'm thinking a lot, but it's really just to hide this. So you just have to like, when the ocean is wavy, you're able to keep your equilibrium. When the thoughts are immense, you're able to keep your equilibrium. A lot of people will just go into isolation. And so there's nothing really for their mind to like fight them with. And that's, again, that's not a bad thing, but a lot of Eastern teachings, instead of learning how to, how you say, actualize and cope with the mind, what they'll do is they'll just become aesthetics. They'll just go out into nature and just make themselves devoid of all the sensation so they can focus on their spirituality. And while I think that has a place in the world, if everyone tried to do that, nothing would happen in the world. Everyone would just be meditating. You might think, oh, that would be a really peaceful situation. And it's like, okay, then why? But why are we here? Why are we here? We're here to transmute and turn suffering into compassion. We're here to feel good. Like our bodies are here to breathe. Like we literally breathe. Inhale, exhale. Happiness, sadness, pain, pleasure. And they all operate on those, on similar channels. The difference between being tickled and feeling pain is the story that you make up about it. Any advice relating to the cross of masks incarnation? I've not found much info on about it. So, Sarah, one thing I would say is like the information regarding human design and the incarnation crosses, they're all based off Ra's interpretations of the I Ching. And while those are incredibly helpful to like crack you open, you know, what you're doing right now is looking for information about who you are in the external world. What I would say is, in terms of the cross of masks, look up the 4 hexagrams in their original translation, or like as close to the original translation as you can get, which I'm not going to look it up. It's going to take too long. But the four, oh, Lizard, are you stuck? Your foot is stuck, buddy? Oh my God, that's hilarious. Your foot's stuck. Let's see how long you stay there. Don't, oh, your foot is stuck. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, he's free. Um, See, some people will call that ADD. I just like watching lizards. Um, I made a video about sleep token last night, and some guy was like, everyone who loves sleep token is just people, you know, neurodivergence or ADD people that haven't been diagnosed yet. And I'm like, bro, I don't need a doctor to know that my attention doesn't stick with shit that's boring and lame. Like I can sit with that. I do sit with boredom quite a bit. Like I'll just like sit and like stare at the trees and stuff like that, like conscious boredom as a thing. But again, it's like, okay, I can be bored. I've been bored for hours. Now what? What is it that I'm inspired to do? Because life is a flux. Anyway, happy Friday, Marco. Happy Friday. What happened to all the mythical creatures? That's a really cool question. I have no idea. Anyway, back to the cross of masks, because I was like pretty deep in that when I saw my lizard buddy up there get stuck. Um, Look up the original, and this, anyone can do this for their hexagrams. Like, look up the original I Ching and the original translation, um, and start to contemplate for yourself, how does this show up in my life? Where does this show up in my mind? Where does this, because if you look at your personality, that's like your mind, who you think you are. Your design is like your body or the inheritance. It's the stuff that your parents are sort of giving you. And you, that's what your incarnation crosses. It's your personality, sun and earth, and your design, sun and earth. And then there's a synthesis, which will be like, oh, this is what the cross is about. And so, for instance, masks, you can just use that word, mask. That's the keynote. What masks do you wear so that you can show up in the world based off how your parents want you to show up, based off how you think you should show up? And then your consciousness being the intersection of those. Is like sometimes people think they're the right hand. They think, you know, oh, it's all about what I think about myself. And then some people think they're the left hand. It's all about what I inherited. Bro, you're more than hands. You know, it's not just left and right. It's also spinal column. It's also all of this. So the question would be like, again, what are those hexagrams for yourself? Journal it out, write it out, reflect on those. Like, search for information inside of yourself, because the reason there's not a lot of information online is because no one can tell you the things that your body can tell you. And the reason you're not able to find it and you found me was because I can tell you that. I can tell you, hey, look inside, look into. Because again, it's like you might feel seen by this, but can you see yourself without the mirror? Can you visually go to a mirror, or sorry, can you internally go into a mirror and contextualize what your face looks like? Can you contextualize what your teeth feel like? And the reality is, it's like you can look at them, okay, but then you can also, oh, that's what that feels like. And a lot of the times, it's like it's only blind people that can really appreciate true sensation because they can't use their eyes. So anyway, that's my rant on masks. Also consider again what masks do you wear so that you can show up as the person you think you need to show up for, and what masks do you wear so that you can show up in the world in a way that like feels correct to you. Again, keynote is masks, and the keynotes for like all of that information that's written about the cross of masks is not because the person lived the masks incarnation and wrote about it. It's because they synthesized a projection based off of those sources, which are the hexagrams. And even the hexagrams are a synthesis of people, or a synthesis, a collection of information about life by people who were studying life. So again, it's like, what's that term? First first-hand accounts. First-hand accounts is your account of it. Second-hand account, somebody might have like seen a battle happen, but they might be on a side that maybe you don't agree with, and they're going to put stuff in that battle or context into that battle. And if you consider that the first-hand account as over your own, what makes their experience more valuable than yours? Maybe they had more information. Okay, well, does that invalidate my experience? And this is where we get into a lot of, like, how you say, tricky territory, because there's some people that are going too deeply, I think, into, and not too deeply, because it's like, if it's happening, it's supposed to happen. Woohoo about the cross of tension. Thank you. Well, where do you feel tension in your body, right? Where do you feel tension in your physical body? Where do you feel tension in your mind? And again, what are those hexagrams? Because it's like, not only do I not have the treasure you seek, but I guarantee you have the treasure you seek, and that there's a part of your conditioning that is looking for some external authority to say, here's the treasure that you seek. Because you've probably already come into contact with the treasure within yourself, but maybe you showed it to the wrong person, or you didn't show it to anyone at all because you undervalued that treasure. As a 2-5 reflector, I am trying to figure out my cross, right angle of the unexpected. Does this connect to surprise? Everything connects to everything. Um, Definitely. What I would look for is the unexpected in your body. Strength that you thought you didn't have, but you actually do have. Looking for weakness or flexibility or tolerance in your body that you thought you did have, but you don't have. And part of that involves, again, somatically pushing yourself to your limits, not as a means of optimizing you, not as a means of getting somewhere faster than you're getting there. But for instance, like, how long can you do this? Can you smell and swallow without losing the pressure in your cheeks? Can you add more pressure to your cheeks? And then at what point do you get to where you want to let go? Stay for 2 or 3 seconds and then let go, and then go longer, right? Again, human design is not here so that we can learn the human design system. We are learning the human design system ultimately so that we can surrender to our bodies and our form. So if we use the human design system as a map rather than the adventure, or the thing that we need to learn before we go on the adventure, life gets way better. And the archive is a very intentional membership community classroom where you can learn physically how to explore the body using the body graph as a map. Thank you, Marco. Very thought provoking. My defined channels are ajna and throat only. Yes. So, and then there's a temptation. I get it, to mentally want the answers, but the people that are actually celebrated in the world and that are inspiring truly, they don't they don't wait for mental clarity. They act on instinct. They say, so and so told me to wait, but I knew I had to do this, and so I did it, and here it is, and everyone loves it. And then everyone is thinking, oh, how do I do that? Like, well, what is his process? Let me read his book. It's like people spend more time reading autobiographies of people who have totally different designs, maybe even like different genders, grew up in different areas. They spend more time reading about, and yes, it gives them perspective, but they spend more time reading about other people than they do reading the signals that are coming from their body. And again, nothing wrong with that, but it's just heavily imbalanced in my opinion. Same as like someone who only brushes their teeth with their right hand or only uses their left hand exclusively, never using the other. There's a dysfunction there if you can't use both your hands, both parts of your body, both sides of your body. And that's even one of the practices is cross your hands. Like, oh, I can reach that with my right hand. I'm reaching across my body. Some people have to turn because they can't cross their midline. They lose their coordination. And this is something that like you go to physical therapists for. It's an actual dysfunction. And when you work on the mechanic with the intention of shifting the behavior, the mechanic gets better and the behavior can get better, and the emotional regulation, everything can get better. And with the crosses, again, it's like literally crossing the body. It's the intersection of your mind and your body, and your ability to accept that intersection. Again, a lot of people want to be, oh, I wish I was this and that. I wish I had a body like this, and I wish I had a mind like that. Well, what kind of body do you have? What kind of mind do you have? Let's start there. Because you might be perfectly inclined to do something totally different, and it will feel so much better than doing this. And this, you see this classic example all the time. I joined the military because my dad wanted me to join the military. And now that I'm done with the military, I want to do, I want to be an architect, or I want to be a publisher, or I want to work on, computers. But I was like, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of the times we just do things because there's no one's sitting at the gate asking questions like, do you actually want to do this? And I had to do that for myself in college. I was like, Marco, do you actually want to be here in college learning creative writing from some guy who literally looks like he hates his life? Not really. But what other alternative is there? And this is where I made the leap that hopefully you can make the leap as well. You can cultivate the courage, because I was super scared. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that I didn't want to do this thing in front of me. And so I started looking to the sides and I started looking behind me. It's like, is there any way to like get out of this? It's like being in traffic, right? It's like, if you're gonna go that way, that's the flow of traffic. So you either learn to tolerate it or you find a different way. And it's like, well, I can tolerate this, but it'll take me a while. But at least I know I'll get there. Or you're like, oh, I'll go explore. Oh, but I don't want to be late for work. Again, the mind, endless scenarios. You guys see me spin out in it. I feel like in a way I like to come on here live and spin out mentally just to show you that it's not that hard to come back to the body. I'm called to start a farm in Oregon recently. I set my masks aside. This dream remains. Yes. And that's the thing, is like a lot of the times the dreams, like if you want to be a rock star, consider maybe that you just want to play music and sing, and you want to deepen into the feeling of singing. If you want to have like a successful book, maybe consider to the fact that you just want to write and pour your words onto paper. Like, again, what is the experience that you physically are having? What does it look like from the outside? Let go of what it looks like from the outside. Focus on the feeling of manifesting. So important, right? And then your mind will be like, well, okay, so we need to learn this skill in order for us to feel this way about it, because in order for us to like learn how to or have a farm, I need to know how to grow this kind of flower because this is the climate that I want. And then that's where the mind becomes actually useful. It actually gives you problems that are relevant to who you are, as opposed to comparing your progress with somebody else's progress. Stephen BRB, I'm back. Welcome back. Welcome back. This tea is hitting so hard right now. do need to get some more tea, which I still haven't spent that birthday money you sent me, bro. I'm gonna buy some new tea with it. I've been waiting for um, the right time because if I have fermented pu'er, I will not drink my raw pu'er, which, and I've been having such an appreciation for it. Oh yeah, I was back in March, and one of my members here sent me some birthday money and was like, spend it on you, and I'm like, damn, bro, like that means a lot. It really did mean a lot because, especially as a dad, like so much of my money gets spent on my family and stuff. Am I LAX or RAX? I'm right angle. I'm right angle cross of rulership. Let's see. Can I share? I'm a 6'2" projector and I have no clue what I'm supposed to do. I want to serve, but I don't know how. I started working at a souvenir shop every day. Feels kind of wrong. So I totally get where you're at. And again, where you're at is perfect. Like one of the most common things about like awakening and especially discovering your human design is recognizing, oh, like this doesn't really feel aligned. So it's a combination of two things. First, you have to just accept that your survival mode got you to where you are right now so that you could learn about where, again, this isn't what I want to do. So first, learning how to tolerate it, not immediately running away. In discovering what it is that you want to do, especially as a projector, it looks like you doing things alone and exploring, or you being alone, especially with the 6'2" profile, and how you say, not pressuring yourself to like have a certain type of like social circle or expectations around that. Um, and on top of that, and this is kind of the third thing, this is always the underlying thing though, you can't guide someone if you're not strong enough or able to guide them, even if you have the projector aura. So some things that are really important, and this is why I created the membership, the archive, and why I also made it affordable. It's only $37 a month or $333 for the entire year. We have 4 live classes, or no, sorry, 2 live classes a week. We have so many hours of pre-recorded classes and like a very simple 7-hour course that will teach you sort of the basics of sensory design, which is exploring your physical body using human design as a map. What's the main thing I should focus on as a 5/1 emotional projector? The ability to handle intensity and pressure and heat in your solar plexus, which is right here. Embodying my HD as a 6'2" splenic projector, I found most success, personal and financial. Yes. If we can't raise $2,000 in 8 days, human design guidance needed. Wait, what? if we can't raise $2,000, wait, what? Oh, okay. I need to know what to do. The property we have in the rainforest is about to be foreclosed. If we can't raise $2,000 in 8 days, human design guidance needed. Ah, ha ha ha. I see. So first thing that I would do is I would come into a place of acceptance, because that's again what human design is here to help us do, is accept our bodies in the forms that we're in. And acceptance, like, so, okay, so what happens if we don't get this property, right? Let your mind go there a little bit, just to like feel what happens. How do you feel about yourself? What judgments do you have about yourself physically? How does that feel? Just go there for a little bit. And then from there, I would start to ask myself, and I don't know what your type is or anything about you, so I can't really give that type of human design space. But that would be the first place that I go. Because if something is going to happen that I don't want to happen, and I don't see myself with the ability or the resources to prevent that thing from happening or to make that thing happen, that's the first place I'll go. I'll just go for 5-10 minutes, just let myself feel, okay, I really want this to happen, but I don't have the resources. Oh, you live on the property, so we'll lose your home. Yeah, go there. Because here's another reality. Sometimes life pushes you in the direction that you're asking it to push you, by pushing you out of a position that you really want to be in, or that you worked really hard to be in. Maybe you've gotten comfortable there. So I again, like I said, go to that place, feel into the sacral, like go through that, like pre-grieve it, is what I would say. Pre-grieve it, because again, human design is here to help us accept who we are, not necessarily to guide us towards what we want or what we're supposed to do. Again, your body is here to do that. Your body is here to guide you towards the things that are correct for you. Human design is just here to help you accept it. Your body is, that is. So I had to slow down and be okay with being alone to find the most clarity. Yeah. And again, that's exactly what I mean. And so, and there's a lot of fear, but also it's like losing your home. And this actually came up. So I wonder if I'm going to lose my home soon. That would suck. But also like I would figure it out. I would absolutely figure it out. I'd give myself like 10, 15 minutes, maybe even a day or two to like be crushed by it. And this is how I handle my emotional waves because sometimes they're really big. And there's times when I'm like, oh, I don't know if what I'm doing is working or if it's gonna work or if it's helping people. And so I'll just like let it crush me for a while. Sometimes days, never more than 2 or 3 days. But I just like let it fully crush me. Sometimes it only takes a couple hours. I'll let it fully crush me and then I'll just reemerge with, you know what? Regardless of what happens, I'm going to continue. Like I get in deeper into my why. So that's what I have for you, which is probably not the counsel that you want. But I would say pre-cook the emotional wave because you're already it's like you're like, oh, we don't want this to happen. We don't want this to happen. We don't want this to happen. How do we prevent this from happening? I'm like, yo, what happens if it happens? What are you gonna feel? What are the things that are gonna come up? Let those come up first and then let those inspire you or be the fuel to move you forward as opposed to trying to prevent something from happening that is already in the process of happening. And I'll tell you as well, $2,000 in 8 days is incredibly doable. It's incredibly doable. And again, if that is an issue right now, if the cash flow is an issue right now, and it's like, procrastination put it to the point where it's like now we only have 8 days, like what were you doing all these months before? Is my question. And I'm not trying to like harp on you. I'm just like genuinely, those are the places that I go to. As a fourth profile, you can reach out to your network for help. Yep, that's that's what I mean. Like it's totally doable. Like there's someone probably in your network sitting around with like thousands of dollars that they don't know what to do with, or even better, is a friend of a friend. But here's the thing: is you don't go to those people in the emotional state of desperation. You have to cook the emotion first. So important because there's a very big difference between like calling up a friend and being like, dude, I need $2,000 in the next 8 days, otherwise my house is going to foreclose, and calling up your friend in a totally different emotional state. Okay, man, I've accepted that this thing is going to happen, but I'm just reaching out to see if there's any possibility that you have a connection or someone that can help us out here. And it's very different. What do you mean by cook the emotion? I mean, allow yourself to experience the fullness of the emotion until you get to the drop off. So like if you're feeling sad, instead of like, watching a romantic comedy, like put some sleep token on, crawl up in a ball and like go to the depths of your sadness. So cash flow is an issue. My partner's friend asked for money and he said he would repay it in time. Yeah. So again, it's like if we if we push the emotions back, we constantly push those emotions back, they just come up like harder and harder later. And after he received the money from my partner blocked his number and now we don't have anything. Got you. Love that homage to sleep token. Yeah, you already know. That's hard as fuck for me to stay with emotions as an emotional projector. Any tips? Just practice. Just practice. And again, like what happened with your network is you're starting to see that like, oh, some people are not actually, true to their word. And you can blame the other person for like being an asshole and then, not want to how you say it, it's like a pretty powerful reflection for yourself. Again, moving through the emotional way because again, there's a lot of people. $2,000, truly. I'm not saying this because I'm rich, like, but if I needed to raise $2,000, I could do it. I could do it. But again, first I would go through all of the emotions right before I kind of start to reach out for help, center myself, and then start to reach out for help. Because that is a super shitty thing. I don't have anybody to reach out to genuinely. I'm new to the island and legitimately have nobody. I mean, you're talking to me. You're talking to me through the internet. Um, yeah, you're talking to me through the internet right now. You have it's not just exclusive to the island. So that's why I say go through the emotions of it first. And I know that you've been going through the emotions of it, but like really let yourself go there. Like visualize what it would be like to have to like pack up all your stuff and be homeless for a little bit, and like the sadness and what that would bring out. Right. Yeah, exactly. This is a way of reaching out. And so it's like if anyone feels called to help this person, nourishment and neutrinos, reach out. Reach out. And again, it's like, do you have kids, by the way? Just curious. Roommate for the last year moved out 4-1 and completely blocked me after financially supporting. Yeah, like people are going to fuck you over. And you're either going to lose faith in humanity, or you're going to remember that, hey, look, there's not that many bad people, really fucked up people in the world. There's like 2 or 3 of them. They move around a lot, but there's not really that many. There's more good people than not good people. Yeah, he owes me a lot, yet I gave him, and the universe will pay me back. It really does. So technically, I'm expecting, and my partner already has 2 children. Got you. Okay, so this is where, again, the so much of the energy is revolved around like for the kids, but like, what about for you? Like, I get that. Oh, the kids will be homeless, but dude, there are kids that are like literally eating dirt and trash, like in India and third world countries. And again, not trying to like minimize your suffering. What I'm saying is that you might be minimizing your own suffering. There's parts of this emotional wave that are, um, how you say, inviting you into deeper connection with yourself, and especially, and you say technically you're expecting, if you are bringing a new child into your family, like this might be your child's doing of like, hey mom, like you gotta, it's not about like having it all together. It's not about like having a home for me. It's about being the home. It's about being the safety and the nourishment, for me, because like your kid just needs you, right? And a lot of the times the children will put their mom through the ringer in the pregnancy, in order so the mom can actually be present for the baby. Tell your story through social media, which is your network. Yeah. And you said you had a GoFundMe as well. And it's like, again, it's worth, and send me a DM, ask me to, share it on my story. And then genuinely, and I don't mean this in like a, like I'm gonna ghost you or whatever, but it's like, if I in my inner authority feel like yes, I'll do it. If I feel no, I won't do it. But it's worth the ask. It's definitely worth the ask. But again, if you don't put the ask out there, no one can say yes. But move through the wave, like I was saying before. Move through the wave, record a video. You don't necessarily have to post or share that video, but because again, one of the things that mothers have to sacrifice is themselves. And if you sacrifice yourself, no one can fulfill the role of mother. And I know that especially there's probably a dynamic between, your partner having those kids, and now you technically having, bringing your guys' creation into the world. Like there's a lot of things at play here and a lot of dynamics at play here. And life will use pressure and heat to mature us. And we will either run away from it or we will meet it. So I love and appreciate what you're saying, and I am fully fulfilled, being a present mom. Love it. I'll send some prayers up for you. I mean, we have been for the past 10-15 minutes. Um, and yeah, and again, get in my DMs, send me the link. Like I said, I'll tune in with myself. I know your timeline 8 days, but now we can send money like this now. So prayers for the success of all of that, and your journey with, motherhood as well. What do you think about radical responsibility? about the perceived experience. I mean, I think that's all there is. I don't know what else to say. Um, like for me, for instance, if someone says, Marco, you said something that really triggered me, in my heart, I know, hey, something got activated in you. You're not actually mad at me. You're mad at a projection. But for my own selfish, radical responsibility, I will say, well, what is it? What is it I said that triggered you? I won't try and correct them away. But even though, again, it's like if someone triggers me, first thing I'm going to do, go feel it. This fucking guy. I'm going to say all this shit. This fucking guy thinks I'm this. I'm not this. I'm going to fucking kill all the stuff I did for him. Blah, blah. You know, I'm going to say all that. I'm going to get it all out. Then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put myself in their shoes. I'm going to be like, well, what is, how am I the bad guy in this situation? I'll villainize myself and I'll go into this. I'm a 3-5 reflector. Then what I'll do is I'll actually confront it when I'm more grounded and emotionally centered and stable. So, let's talk about this real quick. Question: wouldn't feeling deeper into the least desirable outcome manifest it? Not necessarily. It's like if there's a snake in the room, would you want to know that the snake is there, or would you like to stay in the dark? Regarding putting feeling into least desirable outcomes is like you're already going there. Your mind is already going there. That's what's causing the panic. What you're not feeling is the different activations in your body. And so the invitation here is not to be afraid of feeling that this might happen, because the only thing that's going to actually prevent it from happening probably is your willingness to accept that this is happening. Like you've already manifested it. You gave money to a friend who said he was going to pay you back, and now you don't. Like you put too much faith in somebody else, and now it's time to like put faith back into yourself. Again, there's a lot of concepts around manifestation that are in my mind just like totally twisted, and it's really worth exploring. Look, just because you are feeling something doesn't mean that you're going to manifest it. And a lot of times it's the I don't want to feel that manifests it. Because if you're feeling something in your body, like pain, for instance, and you ignore the pain, what happens? It gets worse, right? If you numb it, it gets worse. So the more that you avoid feeling the worst case scenario, which is already in your system, the worse it's going to get. So anyway, after I'm ready to confront, I'm grounded, I've felt my thing, I've empathized, I've like put myself in their shoes, I've accepted that, oh, maybe I did do this, etc. What I'm going to come to them is I'm going to say, yo, something you said or something you did activated something in me. I don't use that word triggered because that puts people on edge. It says you did something to me. I said, yo, something came up for me. I was wondering if you have some space to talk about. It was about this instance. And they'll either say, yeah, I can talk about it, or no, I can't. Once we get to that point, I'm going to say, hey, here's objectively what happened. And then I'm going to objectively say, I was sitting in the room, you came in the room, you said this, and this. So and so said this, and then you left the room. Like this is what a camera would see. And I'll be like, and then what did you see? What did you specifically see? And if they start going into like, well, I went into the room and I was feeling this and I was feeling that, I'm gonna say, hey, look, can we get to feelings later? I just want to know like what objectively happened for you. Keep your feelings and all that stuff outside of it. And if they're unable to do that, I'll end the conversation. I'll be like, look, I can see we're not in a space to talk about it. And I'll say we, I won't put it on them. Because again, my goal is to like achieve clarity and discover whether or not this is the type of person that I can continue a relationship with. Because if that happens multiple times, I'm not gonna have a relationship with that person. And this has happened pretty recently, where I'm like talking to a friend, they're activated, I'm not activated. They're trying to project their activation on me. They're trying to share the feelings. What about me? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, look, we're in a process here, dude. Like you're trying to get to the you're like stuck in the blame of it. You're stuck in the feelings of it. And until you're willing to like accept that that's how you feel, but that on my end something totally different happened. It's like, what is the reality? We can establish that. And then how did you feel about what happened? We'll get to that later. But if someone can't contextualize the objective reality, oh, I came in, I did this, I had some drinks earlier, and then I said some things. Like, if you can't accept that that happened and you're immediately going into the feeling, I'm sorry, friend. We're not really friends. I'm not going to continue this relationship. because that's a standard for that I have for myself. What did the camera see? What's present in my body? And I did that already with myself. So if you can't do that with yourself anyway. After that, we go into feelings and judgments. How did you feel about it? What judgments had? I hear that. And then projections. Who did I remind you of? Who do you remind me of? We talk it out. And then how do we move forward? What do we want to do? What do I want to ask of you? Is there anything you want to ask of me? Like, you might not get it. I might not get it, but I want to at least ask. And then what does it look like to close it? And then that's it. So I mean, consumer or creator of reality. I think we're co-creating reality. We're also co-consuming it. So I totally just like went off there on my own little, like, that's how you clear projections and charges with people. So when you can't process internally, it manifests externally. Yep, exactly. I love the perspective you're sharing. Would you care to shed some light on the differences between active and passive variable manifestation? So active and passive variable manifestation is actually like new age pop culture HD kind of thing. It's not like if you have right variables, you're a passive manifester. If you have left variables, you're a active manifester. It goes a lot deeper than that. One of the arrows, the first top left arrow, deals with digestion. Are you active or passively digesting something? And that's the difference between like choosing your own meals and not choosing your own meals. Crap, I have class in like 8 minutes, guys. I gotta go. I love you. I totally got wrapped into that. That was good. I love you guys so much. Um, let's see. Yeah, man, I didn't even scroll down on some of these comments. Anyway, guys, I freaking love you. I gotta bounce. Class starts in now 7 minutes. So anyway, love you guys. I'll see you next week. And if you want to join the archive and join class, link is in the bio. I will see you guys soon. Sorry, guys. Oh, that's hilarious.